Traders, it's Mark here from the day trading room. A couple of nice little captures here on the DAX. Two separate videos, same day, same time period. Flag type patterns. The first we'll see is a flag that forms and breaks the low, and the second is a consolidation type flag that finds support and then bounces. So you have to excuse the quality. The setting was slightly wrong when I recorded this, but I was in a bit of a rush. But you see now we've driven down, and now we're forming a flag. We've got this consolidation. You can see that on the histogram to the right hand side of the dome. Now if you look at the time and sales, these are going to give us the clue as to whether this is the bottom or it's a flag pause type pattern and we're going to continue lower. So we've moved down and we're settling down under this 7,000 level on the DAX at the moment. Now it's a little bit of a calm before the storm. We can just see price going through tick-tock back and forth, but it's happy here. The market is happy in the 97s, 97.5s. Now look how we see green coming through. We've got quite a lot of green coming through there. We had 13 earlier. We've got a little cluster of 6, 2s coming through, but the price isn't really lifting. We've actually got more green at the moment on the time and sales in that window than we have red. Now we've got a bit more green coming through with smatterings of red, but the green isn't lifting the price. So what's that telling us? That's telling us that we've got sellers sitting on the offer and it's a matter of time before they get aggressive. Now this is the next leg down, and notice how when we broke the low we paused for just a split second before pushing again. So you're taking out the stops, you're pushing again, you're pushing again. So yeah, again we start to form this this cluster down here, a slight little histogram forming on the right hand side. And just to put it into perspective here, now we're right at a support level. So you can see this on the chart. Just clear off the chart a bit. There's a support level here now, so we may be interested in taking a long at this level, but we need a tape to confirm. So this is now we're forming a similar pattern as we did a few minutes ago. We're consolidating, and we can see that with the histogram accumulating on the side of the depth of market. Now we need to watch. Now we need to watch and see what happens if we push up away from the histogram and if we push down below the histogram on the dome. Now we just focus completely on depth of market and looking at that time and sales in our peripheral vision. So we start to lift up a little bit. Buyers, we're starting to see some buying evidence, and now we're getting some green on the time and sales, and we're getting what I call expected response, which is the price moving up as we see the green coming through on the time and sales. Now we want to see what happens now. We've seen evidence of buyers, and we've seen evidence of buyers actually move the market up, which is the first step in saying yes, okay, there may be a long trade on. Now for me, I would like to buy a little tiny pullback on the depth on the dome to quantify that risk. And so up here I've got a little 2-tick bar chart on the DAX just to show what the tape is really doing if you haven't been watching it on the depth of market, the time and sales, so you can just see the little nuances and moves back and forth. But what I'm looking for now is as we've pushed away from the histogram to the upside, we've proven that there are some buyers at that support level. We now need to find a good entry that quantifies the risk, that we're not chasing up at highs, that we've got an acceptable risk level, and that would for me be below the low now. But I still want to see how the market responds. We've got the first step. But I'm just now visualizing and putting in the price targets. That would be my target for the trade if I took it just between that 95 and 7,000 level. We can see it was a cluster of it was really where we had that little flag last time. So really a scalp trade, a very aggressive scalp trade. That's all. Nothing, not looking for anything spectacular out of this, just a little scalp trade. And that little ellipse there I've put on would be the entry point I'm looking for. So anywhere around there I'm going to look for a buy. So now we're pushing back down into the histogram. This is the important point. We've seen part one, which is buyers stepping up and proving there are some buyers there, which is what we do need. Now I want to see what happens when we push down into this little consolidation level. Don't forget we're on a really short time frame here, so we're just looking at the depth of market back, and it's just probing slightly below that little consolidation histogram. As you can see, the histogram runs from sort of 85 up to 90, with the highest volume node around the 88, 88.5 as we are here now. We probe below it, and I see that we don't have that rush, we don't have that red time and sales coming through that we did beforehand with that consolidation. So I just take a long here now, 88.5. Okay, now my risk is quantified because I can come out, if we break down, I can come straight out, and honestly, if we ended up breaking down below the 87, it's a very, very tight scalp strategy, literally based on the tape. We pushed higher, proving the buyers, we then came back into the little histogram, we couldn't push lower. So for me, I'm now looking for those shorts who are hoping for the break to cover and cause a little pop back up, and I'm only looking for a pop back up to that consolidation of the previous level, which is around the the 95 to 7,000 sort of level. So I'm watching now, and I'm going to manage this position. It's against the trade, but again, using the tape, using the confirmation of the time and sales, using the depth of market, and just watching where buyers stepping in. So just to summary, we've confirmed we've had buyers stepping. We've seen the support on the chart. We've watched and we've seen buyers step in, and they've helped push it up. Now this 91.5 here that I'm hovering over is a big level in the sand. It's where we struggled at a little bit before, and I want to see that break really, and I think once that breaks, we're going to get the push up and just a little pop back up to that level. But it's not breaking yet, but it's fine. We've got to be a little bit patient sometimes. As long as the trade, it will not take any heat on the trade, and it still looks okay, we have to be a little bit patient for the buyers to come in and the sellers to back off. So back to the summary again. We came back down to support. We've come a long way, so we've got a lot of things on our side. We pushed up. We saw a few buyers stepping in, which we have to see some evidence of buying, otherwise the selling is just going to continue and we're just going to be standing in front of a train. So we see that evidence of buying, but we don't want to chase. I want to wait and see it pull back. We see it pull back to the consolidation level. It probes slightly under, so about the 86.5, 87 level. Then when it came back in, we took the trade. Risk is quantified, and now I'm looking for my obvious target for the scalp trade anyway, which is just going to be 10 ticks or so, or maybe less, as we just push up. It's really based on that. Again, I'm looking at 91.5. He now breaks, considering adding some more at the 92. We've got lots of green coming through. That's holding. I'm expecting now the push up. Green, green, green. You can see how the price is responding to that short-term break of the 91.5. We start to hold here. A bit slow. This is a bit of a slow market. But it's doing okay so far. It's being a bit happier above the histogram. We're forming some volume. Some buyers are stepping in. It's not rushing up, so there are obviously still some passive sellers sitting on that offer, who are pinning this price down. But the main thing is we've got the first part of the puzzle, which is the buyer stepping in. Now as soon as these sellers back off, we're going to get this little pop, and I'm going to sell into the pop, and I'm going to assume that we're going to push up to that high volume node from before, that little flag that we saw, the consolidate and the break lower. So let's see if we can actually get that now. We need to get a bit of momentum going here. Obviously I'm going to manage the trade. If we push back down to around my break-even point, I will probably close this trade out. It's a scalp trade. I'm not prepared to give it much room because the target doesn't have much meat in it. It's literally based purely on that short-term setup. Now, under normal circumstances, when the market's much more active, you get this very quickly. You get this in a few minutes, and you can use this as part of a larger trade. So you can maybe take a first scale as we're pushing up here. You can maybe look for some more upside if you're in that type of market environment and you think that perhaps that is a turning point for the day. Or you can just use it as this scalping trade, literally looking for that momentum to push lower, stretch the market, sellers to die off, buyers to step in, and then just see the evidence, then just waiting for that little retracement just to get that little sweet spot entry. So we're a little bit slower, but I'm still happy with the position. I still think the likelihood is if we can just get some momentum, I will take it off into that pulse upwards. We've got a few ticks in the bank now, or we haven't got in the bank yet. We've got a few ticks on side at the moment, but so it won't be turning into a losing trade. If all this good work that the buyers have done, they've pushed it up, if this does start to rock back to 89.5, I will come out. So now I'm just waiting for this burst now, looking for the burst on the tape, time of sales flowing green, and we get the expected response. So I stick myself in there at 6.5. It trades a couple at 6.5. Not enough for me to get a full fill. So then that is the danger. It's one of those things, guys. It's the danger of sticking yourself in there, not going to market. Just trying to be a little bit, just trying to squeeze the last bit of juice out of it there, and a few trading. I was just a little bit late, so I decided to pull it down to 94 because really that was the premise of the trade. The premise of the trade was to sell into that pop. We got the target. It pushed up to the lower end of the target. Unfortunately, no fill. But as the trade is completed, I really want to take it out, and if I have to take a little bit less than I would have done normally, then that's the way it is. So just sitting around here waiting for the fill. Just a 10 tick trade, nothing spectacular, but you can see the premise of that trade. So interesting really in there. There's the fill. Finally got the fill on, the complete fill on that. So really there's the two different types of scenario there. You've got the flag, the consolidation that then breaks to lows, and we can see the difference in that. We can see how the price responded differently as opposed to when we came down. And I'm just actually thinking of going short again if we get a little pop back up there. But as opposed to the separate one, the second one should I say, where we broke down and we held, and then we found the support, we saw the buyers, but then we just wanted to wait for that sweet spot entry. So interesting to see the two side by side. One's a flag pattern, and you can see the difference in tape. You see the difference in the consolidation, the hold, the push to lows, no buying. Well, actually we did see buying. We saw some green all the time on sales, but there were sellers sitting on the offer pinning it down. There's a lot of overhang of supply, and ultimately if those sellers aren't going to get the fill they want, they're going to go to market, and that's what we cause that flush. They went to market, we caused the first little flush lower, and then again, so we get a second wave. We're talking about seconds here, not over a longer period of time. Then we found some support down at that actual support level on the chart. So we're watching, we're waiting to see buyers stepping in. We see the buyers step in, they push the market up. Oh, first of all, the buyers step in and we see the consolidation. Then they push the market up very slightly. It retraces back. It pops just under that little consolidation level, but not underneath the new low. That's the entry point. Take the trade. The stop's under the low, looking literally for a quick pop up. It was far from quick, but we got the pop up. Unfortunately, didn't get the fill as it tagged it. Had to move the price lower, but hey, that's trading. That's what it's all about.